Namaskar to each and everyone who has joined us once again at Rutuja Foundation for today's session on Pustak Mimansa Book Lovers Club. And we are happy to share our 11th session. It's been a long series since past many months. We are doing this particular Book Lovers Club. So, thank you very much for being so encouraging towards the foundation's activities. And we have recently completed 3 years. If you have been onto the social accounts of Rutuja, you would have seen that just on 29th of August, we finished 3 years of the foundation. So we seek your blessings, your best wishes, guidance for the same. And to begin the session, those who are new to the platform, let me introduce our foundation. We are a foundation who works for women's welfare in different sections, especially women's health and women's mental health. So, we also have a research section wherein we do some basic activities related to issues concerned with women's health and hygiene, and we try to do research on the basic root cause for the same. So we already had 7 to 8 interns on different projects who have completed this particular research. Soon to come program is on 6th of September. We are going to have Minds Matter, which was already existing program, Relax That Rutuja, for mental health of people. We are reopening that, and we are extending that activity open for all. Males as well as females of any age group can join our Mind Matters section, and we will be discussing science and ancient wisdom with respect to different aspects like yoga, meditation, self help tools, self hypnosis, yoga nidra, different kinds and forms of breathing techniques which can help and support you for your own wellness and mental well being. If you are interested in this kind of workshops, which first workshop is going to come on 6th, that is the first Wednesday of September. So every September, like every month's first Wednesday, is going to be a free session for all those who are a part of Minds Matter. You can go on to our Facebook or our Instagram and find out the WhatsApp web link for joining that particular session. So once again, a warm welcome to everybody, and I'll not take much time. No telling more about the NGO, because I know you all are waiting for our today's guest to be online with us. So let me invite her quickly. And here you have Pranjali. Hello, Pranjali.
Hello.
I hope I'm speaking your name correctly.
Yes, you are. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being there on our show. And Book Lovers Club, we try to bring topics, issues concerned with women aspects, or something concerned with the societal issues, which are usually underlined, not noticed. And it also has a concern in literature, or somebody has mentioned about that in the literature. But we try to put forth through the platform so that people have a different perspective and angle to see those particular issues. And that is why we invited and we wanted that you should be here to discuss alopecia today, and how the journey goes through your book. So friends, we want to give a warm welcome to Pranjali. But because you people, if you haven't gone through our details on the social media, let me introduce you correctly who she is. So basically, Pranjali Chumbhale, she is an entrepreneur, and she's also a dancer. She has her own dancing avenue wherein she's very much into past 5 6 years, and it's her dream that she goes for or becomes a very good musical known dancer. So that is what is her major dream of the life. She's into lot of dancing activity, and professionally she is into different aspects like software development, and different kind of materials with respect to entrepreneur goals. So she is a budding entrepreneur who is trying to put her hands on into number of areas, and eventually landed up into this baldness issue or alopecia in the midst of her career. So that is how she struggled through this aspects of being bald, which is very uncommon with women. Women usually do not have a complete baldness, which is very common in case of male members, and even people are used to saying that. But in case of women, this is very uncommon, and many don't even know that this can be an unnoticed disease. Something goes wrong and you suddenly have a loss of hair. So when I kept the posters of Pranjali along with her book, many inquired that she must be suffering from some disease. She's suffering from cancer. That's why she lost the hair. So it's not so. She is a normal human being. She has no disease, just like us. But the only thing is she lost her hair, and this is a permanent condition. In case of Pranjali, she's not going to regain the hair. Science doesn't have any cure and treatment for this kind of a problem. So that's how she went through a very no traumatized journey, which ultimately getting transformed into a happy soulful achievement of one's own self. So she's the best example to get inspired that you can transform your pain into a beautiful aspect and reconnect with your own self. So that is why we present you today Pranjali with her book, and the book she's going to show you what she has been writing about the stuff. Now, Pranjali, can you just show that book to the
Sure, sure.
audience?
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is the book that Pranjali has written, and this is what we want to discuss with her today. So, once again, a very warm welcome, Pranjali,
thank
for
you.
no today's platform. You take out so much time to be here with us, and it's going to be a very candid and inspiring talk to start with you. So, as always, I inquire with people like hardly people know that there is something like alopecia. So, can you just, because you have been into this aspect, what exactly this alopecia means?
Sure. So, alopecia is an autoimmune disease. So,
Okay.
basically, what it means is like your body's immunity is kind of attacking you. So, it's kind of attacking the hair follicles in my case. Basically, there are many types of autoimmune diseases. Alopecia is one of the types of autoimmune disease.
Yeah, and we don't see this happening more in female. Am I right?
Actually, no, it's also common in females. I don't know the exact statistics, but it's also like I think I was a few years back, as I am a alopecia patient. Generally, there are times when I will go. There are phases where you'll go and read online things about alopecia. So one of those times when I was googling, I had found out the stats by I think the National Alopecia Areata Foundation (NAF). So I had found the stats that every two people in five have alopecia. It's that common. So it's not like I don't know these stats are not gender specific.
Gender. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's that common, and I don't know the stats applied only to US because the foundation is from US, but it or globally, but it is pretty common. But very few people, I think, have it grow throughout their life to actually go through baldness. There are also multiple types of alopecia. There is alopecia areata, totalis, universalis. So there are multiple types of alopecia.
Exactly. So friends, it's going to be an autoimmune disease. Something goes wrong, and we do not understand autoimmune disease in many ways. And now it's becoming very common with India. In there are many different types of autoimmune disorders. So basically, science does not have a good cure for this particular disease. So you seem to be very young for this kind of an issue, and like you're also a married woman. So how did you realize that you are suffering from this disease, and then what actually happened with you, like when you first time realized that I'm going to lose all my hair and it's going to be a permanent loss? What was your first reaction towards that?
So basically, I think alopecia can happen at any age group. It can also happen, like I have heard stories, read stories about girls who have had it like at age of 2. even
Yeah.
that young. So it can happen at any time. Personally, in my case, the first time that I uh, noticed that I have alopecia, it was not actually me. I think I was around 13 or 14 years old. And so, as a ritual, like every day, I'm running to school classes. My mother is tying my ponytail and braiding my hair. And my aunt was actually visiting me that time. And sometimes it happens, right? You're used to doing one thing so often that you are like just you're just doing it subconsciously, you're not even paying attention. So my mother used to braid my hair every day, but that day when my aunt was doing it, she noticed that like a patch of hair on the back of my head is missing. And she was like, oh my god, what is this? And then my mother came in running because she also heard her like shout with surprise, right? So she came in and then they started touching, and then I also touched, and then I felt something different. And that's when actually first time I realized that I have alopecia. And then it was my aunt who told me that, okay, no, this is a skin disease, you don't have to go to a hair doctor, you have to go to a skin doctor. So then I went to the dermatologist, and then that person confirmed that yes, it is alopecia. And that was the first time that I heard the word alopecia. So
Oh,
it
so
was
it's
really
very,
good.
yeah. So you were very young when you actually got to know see this particular disease coming up. So then, being a girl, it's really something different to know feel that you're losing your hair at such an early age, like almost puberty or adolescence.
Yeah.
So
So
how you must be going to the schools that time, and your people around like your mother and your aunt got shocked. So how your school friends used to react to this?
So basically, I think at that time I was in college, but I remember one other incident from my fifth grade. And I used to be the class monitor, or basically between two teachers, I was just the monitors are the ones who are like, okay, I'll write your name on the blackboard if you talk and things like that. So I was just doing that one day, and one of my friends, she walked up to me and she was like, "What has happened in the back of your head?" And I was like, I don't know. Then we both went out, and she quickly did something like with my hairband, and she was like, okay, okay, now it's fine, you can come in. And I forgot about it as a child. And then in my sixth grade, there was a time when part of my eyebrow went missing, and my so that was noticeable because it was in the front of. So my family noticed, my mother, my sisters, they noticed, and then they started applying castor oil, and my hair grew back, and we all forgot about it. But later on in my life, when I started reading about alopecia, a lot of times I found out that the very first occurrence happens generally in eyebrows and places like. So I think the very first time that I actually had alopecia was when I was like probably 9, 10 years old. That was the first occurrence. But how I dealt, like how I felt about it when I was a teenager, I think teenage in general is such a difficult phase.
Yeah,
And
I understand. Yeah.
yeah. So there wasn't a lot of consciousness that I felt like about. I wasn't very conscious about my hair because I had very long hair. I had hair until my waist. So
Oh,
I had very long hair, and mostly the patches would happen at the back of my head, right? But I'm generally tied up in a ponytail or a braid, and my hair is in general very long. It was very long. So basically, it was not noticeable to anyone else, and it also didn't matter to me at that point when I was in college. And but then later on, I started feeling like, okay, there were a lot of times that I used to feel like I can't tie my hair up like in a bun, and I would really want to do that. And a lot of times I used to say this even to my husband later on in my life, that you know what, this is my wish, that I want to just tie everything. The reason why I can't tie is because it's not that I would feel conscious or something like that. The reason is the alopecia patches look very scary.
yeah,
So when I was in my, I think, undergrad college, and alopecia is such a disease that would come and go, and it will have its waves and frequent. So basically, when I was in, I think, college, second year engineering or sometime like that, and I lost hair, there was this group of close friends that I had. So I used to, like, I didn't know whom to ask. You are a teenager, you don't know whom to talk to, how to handle yourself, and your friends, that is the phase that you're very well connected with your friends, and you feel that
yeah,
your friends know everything, they're the solution to everything in life. So you discuss or talk. So I used to click pictures, and I used to be like, okay, these are looking like this, and then I would look online, and then I would share. But then I realized that a lot of people were very hesitant because they look scary. The alopecia patches look scary. If you see someone who has alopecia, you will feel that, okay, irrespective of age, I have seen this reaction come from like various different age groups because it looks scary. So that is the reason that I would avoid like tying my hair up.
Oh, so that wish remained as it is. You couldn't tie your hair up for.
Mm,
Uh,
no, I wouldn't say that because there are, like I mentioned, right? Alopecia is like, uh, you never know. It's a disease that it can surprise you. You never know. So in my life also there were phases, like because I went bald recently, like 1 year back I went bald, but I have alopecia since like probably more than half of my life. But
oh yeah,
it became so severe that I had to go bald last year. But throughout this time it would come, sometimes it would be too much and sometimes it would be something minor. So there were times that I would lose like around 40% of my hair, but then I would gain back like 90%, lose, gain back. So it is very tumultuous journey for your like, okay, for you have to constantly keep on like, oh no, and things like that. So yeah, that
yeah.
happens.
Something has to be dealt with in the background
Yes,
all the
yes,
while
yes.
continuously you have to deal with it, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So how you came across writing the book? Like, it's
Mhm.
such a long journey, so in all these years, like, what made you write the book? Like, let's put it on the paper, about the whole of the thing. So how you came across that?
So, how I came across writing was basically, I think 3 or 4 years back, I started writing blogs. And I was very nervous before I started writing blogs. But I have this thing that I always like to challenge myself, try new things. I enjoy trying new things, learning new things, and doing new things. I get very bored with monotony. So, I basically started writing blogs 4 years back. And then I had sort of some comfort in writing. And I'd been writing. My dad actually was the one when I was a teenager. So my dad had actually recommended to me that, you know what, you should write a diary, should keep a diary.
Yeah,
And then I realized that it is a very, and I used to see my eldest sister do that as well. So I used to idolize her. So whatever she does, I want to copy and do it. So I had started maintaining diary. So writing was always a cathartic experience for me. So when I still remember, it wasn't like a very well thought thing that I want to write a book. It was basically like I was living this life of baldness 1 year, and I had never shared about like there were many events that were happening in my life, but in all those events I had excluded talking about like the experience that I'm facing just because I'm bald, and I really wanted to like put them out in a place so that people understand, so that people
yeah,
I'm just sprinkling it here and then people will not understand. So in the book I did not specifically talk about alopecia much. I talked more about baldness and being a bald woman specifically
yeah.
because there are multiple reasons that a woman can be bald. But so my 1 year journey of being a bald woman and what kind of reactions I was getting from people. And no, it's not always negative. There are a lot of positive reactions also I got. So I wanted to put all of that out. And so writing a book seemed like a natural progression from writing a blog and put. So I thought initially I would do a series, but then book seemed like a logical progression to put all these thoughts out.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this is a great help to people, because usually this kind of topics are never coming as books. No, even if somebody wants to read, there is no good stuff available which they can read and understand, how being bald as in women can really impact a women's life so much deeply. So I'll go back to your those no college days and all. So were you ever discriminated because you had this particular problem? I'm sure your friends must be knowing that you are going through this issue of getting hair loss and then regaining and getting hair loss. So were they ever discriminating, or their families didn't wanted their children to communicate with you or something like that?
Um, I don't remember any of that happening except for one incident. And it wasn't discrimination per se, but as I mentioned, right, alopecia patches can look scary. So, as a part of treatments, there are many treatments available. So, when I say alopecia doesn't have cure, but it has many treatments available which do not guarantee 100% cure or a permanent cure. So, one of the treatments that I was going through was a leech therapy, in which they would basically put a leech on the part of your blood. So, it's an
Yeah,
Ayurvedic therapy, and the leech would suck the blood out of you, and then so basically I would have that dressing on my head. So basically I would go for the leech therapy, then the leech would suck it would make punctures in your head, right?
Yeah.
Suck the blood. And then so they would just put some haldi and they would put the dressing, but later on after some time you have to remove. And I think there was my friend helping me out one day, and she just took and she was like, "You, it's looking very disgusting." That was her
Yeah.
reaction. Yeah, but and I totally understand. Like, I didn't feel. I felt a bit because all my friends were around, so I felt a bit awkward at that time because okay, I'm something different. But it didn't. I think because she was my very closest friend, so she has always been with me through my ups and downs, all my moments of weakness. So I don't think so. Like one harsh comment coming from her, and I could totally understand because they are not friendly looking patches. So I can completely understand when I get that reaction.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good that you never came across any very discriminating aspects through it. But I'm sure there must be something with respect to misconceptions.
Yeah.
नो मान्यताएं होती है ना कि ऐसे लोग ऐसे माने ये तो इसकी वजह से होता है इसकी वजह से, so that you must have come across because it's been a long journey for you.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely I've come across some experiences. So when I'm like as a bald person, right, when you're there, so people are curious, they'll come up to you and ask like, oh, what happened? And when you tell them, right, it's a disease. So a lot of times I have observed people will just like they'll squeeze to the side,
Stay
and
away.
yeah, they feel that okay, it's maybe they'll lose their
Also
hair if
will
I
have it.
cause
Yeah.
yeah them or what something. So basically that kind of I have gotten reactions like that. Like people would like they might think that okay, it spreads through contact or something like that. But yeah, so I've experienced those kind of things.
Yeah, so they create a distance. They don't want to be with you close in
Yeah,
terms of sitting or being there for
yeah,
you. Yeah, that is very common with India, particularly because we don't have much awareness about diseases, what is contagious and what is
mm.
non-contagious disease and all. So that is there. But then you must also have got some, because India में ये बहुत common है. कुछ problem आए ना तो free में advice बहुत मिलती है. People
For
want to tell you everything. ये कर ले, इस माता जी का दर्शन कर ले, उस माता जी का कर ले. So you must have got like lot of those kind of advices also to get the cure done.
yes, yes. So lots, a lot. And I just did not have alopecia. I also had trichotillomania, so wherein like you tend to pull your hair. And my trichotillomania started very early on. I think I was 2 years old or 3 years old. So I had this habit of pulling out eyelashes. So my grandmother had actually donated this Gao ka Devi hota hai na. She donated this Sone ka eyes, like some watered gold watered eyes. So she had done that in the belief that okay, something will happen. And yeah, and I get a lot of like suggestions like this because people and not that I would say that it's not that I haven't tried them. Like you won't imagine, like even if I'm just sitting and having a casual conversation with someone, people have stopped and they've come and given me suggestions like, you know what, take a blade and create a this thing, cut on your head and then rub garlic on it. Then there are people who have
My God.
communicated to me. Yeah, there are a lot of things, lot of suggestions that, and I get I probably, if I just write a book about the suggestions, even then I have a lot of content to write about it. So the suggestions never get over. And applying onion oil. So I wouldn't say that I haven't tried any of them. I obviously, there is a stage in your life where you are like, okay, if this is happening to me, okay, I want to try this. Sometimes they take effect. So next time your faith in that doubles up, and you're like, oh no, if this is happening, I know I can try this, and then it will go away. So you kind of also buy into it. But later on I realized that all of those things, right, what people are suggesting, they are not 100% like inaccurate, or they are not 100% like not cure for this. But what it does is like it creates a so our body's tendency is, if you just attack it, right, so in response it will create hair. So that is what this is. So it's a temporary treatment kind of thing, it's not a cure. So I can keep on doing treatments for the entire life, but somewhere I have to make peace with, like, I have alopecia, and then if I want to take the treatments for the entire life, that's a different part. But if I
Yeah.
just keep on going one treatment of the other treatment after the other treatment, and be miserable between all of them, that nothing is working, or that thing worked, oh no, no, now that thing worked, I'll just keep on running here and there, and all my life will be just about alopecia and hair loss. When will I live my
Live,
life then?
yeah, very
Yeah.
true. When will you actually live? You always have in the background the music going on. I don't have to become bald, I don't have to become bald, and let's work on the hair. So there is no focus available other than that. It's so wonderful that you have to somewhere come to peace with your problem. It's such an important aspect. If you don't come no align get aligned with your issue, you cannot just find out the solution. That's absolutely true. So what then ultimately, when you really realize that now it's enough, जो होगा देखा जाएगा, and let's focus on what I want to do in the life.
Yeah. So I think I had started taking I think in 2021, after COVID, right? 2021, 2020, my hair health was very, 2020, I was losing hair very badly. COVID time, a lot of things not going right in the life. So I was losing hair very badly. But 2021, I like had almost like 90-95% recovery after that. And I had good hair and everything. But then after that, I started losing them again. Like this 2022, I started losing them again, and I had started taking treatment in 21 again. Basically, uh, remember the story I told you, like the first time the doctor told me that this is called alopecia. So that doctor, as a part of treatment for alopecia, there are steroid injections. So what they do is, like, the entire patch, wherever there'll be a patch, right, they would just in the boundary of that patch, they would put steroid injections. These are topical
Yeah,
steroids, so they don't enter the bloodstream. So they're just there to like suppress inflation. So that is what happens. So they do those things. So and then my life was going on. I studied, graduated, everything. I went to the US for my masters, started working, and then I thought, okay, let me just take some guidance over here and check if there are other solutions available. Then the doctor told me the same thing, that we have the steroid injection. I was like, I tried this 10 years back, and still the tech, still the
work.
healthcare in that has not changed. So it's not,
Change.
yeah, my faith in that had not reduced, because I had taken it and I was like, fine, I don't want to try. But 2021, I again thought, okay, let me just try this one more time. So I started doing that, and but my patches were growing at such pace that in one seating, so typically in one syringe, they would put somewhere around like 13 to 15, 16 times they can like put poke you
Yeah.
in the head. And when I would go for the treatment, the doctor would use 7 to 8 syringes. And so it's
Oh,
just like, if you can imagine that here is my scalp, and these injections are going into your scalp. And she's just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so, like that, 70, 80 injections I'm taking in one seating. And then after that, they told me about step. They were like, okay, it's not helping. There were also one other treatment that I was going through. I'll talk about it later. But then that doctor recommended steroids, which is oral steroids. And then there are tons of side effects about steroids.
yeah,
And
yeah. Absolutely.
I was like, I don't want my hair at that cost. I don't want it at that cost. And so that was the time, like, I was like, no, I just don't want it. And somewhere I was also starting to make peace with it, because this particular time when I was going bald, right, my literally very few hair. I mean, I had literally like 20% of my head was remain like had hair,
Okay, okay.
but the rest of it was visibly showing. And somewhere I was taking time to prepare myself, and I was like, okay, I know this is coming for me. And I had decided, as you know, that I'm a dance student and I'm a dancer. So there was this one show that my teacher was arranging, so I had participated in that. And and I'm a classical dancer. So as a classical dancer, hair is very important as a part of your repertoire. You get ready and things like. So I was just waiting for that day, because I had made up my mind that after that show gets over, I'm going to go next day and I'm going to go bald. So that was the time that I had made peace. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And one more thing, actually, which positively impacted my decision was, I think 1 month before I went bald, we were working from home, and my husband one day just he went out for a haircut. He came back bald,
Oh,
and he was like, and he surprised me. And we might have talked about like me going bald here and there. Maybe he sensed some hesitation or things like that. So he probably wanted to make a point to make me more comfortable and to like just show me that it doesn't matter. You still love me, right? Even if I've gone bald, you still love me, right? So I am also going to love you. If you go bald, I am also my treatment towards you is not going to change. So that was something where I think it was also comforting. It was just a reassurance also. So yeah, I think that also helped me.
I think you have a wonderful husband, because it's very difficult to find partners who really understand this kind of problems and support. We had in the previous session one of the guest authors, and she really found no marriage very troublesome, and she was left alone during her cancer time by the husband, and her marriage broke up. So this happens with many. When actual time comes to show the support, many, they are actually gone away from the relationship itself. So it's wonderful to note that you have such a good husband who actually gave an example to you that you can become bald. But then definitely you have in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and nobody wants their bahus to be bald. In India particularly, it's like because it's a social issue for them to explain to everybody, acha aapki bahu ke baal nahi hai. So how do you manage that part? वो आपने
Yeah.
कैसे हैंडल किया?
Yeah, I would like to tell one more thing. Okay, I'll get to the in-laws part. So it also involves about my in-laws. So thing is, when I was my husband, when he was asking me to like date, it's a love marriage. So when he was asking me that even like, would you like to date me? Would you like to get into a relationship with me? I was hesitant and I told him that you don't know something about me. So I'm not sure if you know something about me, would you still be interested in me? And that time
Hmm.
we weren't very really good friends. We weren't very good friends before we started dating. We just knew each other. So because I, in the back of my mind, always had like, even if anybody would express their interest romantically in me, so I would be like, you don't know things about me. And if you know, probably your treatment towards me would be different, because I
Change.
am not sure if I will lose my hair at any given point in time. And I don't know. Today I look the way I look to you. Today I have long hair. Today I might be beautiful in your eyes. But tomorrow, if I lose hair, am I still going to be beautiful in your eyes? So you don't know that. So very even before like entering that relationship, I had made this point very transparent. And thankfully, in my case, I knew about it. There are a lot of diseases and a lot of issues that people find out later. So maybe it's also very difficult for partners to emotionally charge them up, right? Because it's very draining to support a partner who's like suffering from something. And so in my case, that was the thing. And then when the time came to meet the in-laws, right? So my husband told me that, okay, my parents are ready to meet you, they want to meet you. So even that time, my first statement to him was, did you talk to them about alopecia? And I was like, if you have talked to them about alopecia, if you have made it clear to them that she has this disease and she can go bald, if they're okay with that, only then I will meet them. Otherwise, there's no point in meeting or taking this relationship forward, because it's not going to end well then in that case. So surprisingly, later on when I got married, I mean later on when I asked my husband also, so a very beautiful thing that my father-in-law actually said to my husband. He said, you wear specs, right? You have specs, so that means there is some thing
Problem.
not perfect in you. So you are also using some aid, you wear specs. Now if she has something, then who, if you're not perfect, why are you expecting that your partner will be 100% perfect? She has different problem. So that is the attitude that they had. So that was the thing. And actually in my case also, I was very hesitant the first time went to I got married in COVID. So a lot of our extended family from my husband's side could not come to our wedding. So when we actually did the Indian style wedding, I actually had hair, but I was losing them fast. So I had hair during my marriage ceremony, but after 3 4 months after that, I completely had gone to 20% hair coverage. So when I met the extended family, I was bald, and I was very worried. Like, how am I going to face all of them? Because it's the first time that they're going to meet me, and how are they going to accept? I mean, what is their gender? Because everybody is like,
Reaction.
it's a
Yeah.
bride, right? And bride is like, oh, you like
ब्यूटीफुल होगी,
prime of your
सच-धज के
youth.
आएगी.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
prime of your youth, and so everybody expects that youthfulness and youth. So not that like bald people don't have youthfulness. Bald people are youthful. I am youthful, but from the perspective of the other person,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was nervous about that part. But I think my in-laws comforted me a lot. Like they introduced me with so much of love to their friends, and they would be like, "Oh no, she's our daughter-in-law," and they would like. Uh, I think I used to feel very comforted the way they would introduce me to their friends, and they are also their friends also. Everybody like treated me very well. So I think my experience has been that way.
Good.
Touch
It
wood, I did not
turned out
face
to
it.
be good. Yeah, it turned
Yeah.
out to be good. So you're really blessed, and a lot of things happened around you in a very positive way, because there are people who don't get to have marriages just because they have some kind of diseases even today. In years back, I had a student. She was just in fifth standard, and her mother was worried if she's going to get no the specs, nobody's going to get married to her. So even there are now presently also there are going to be cultures and caste and creed wherein they have this kind of discrimination towards गर्ल्स तो ऐसी होनी चाहिए, मोटी नहीं होनी चाहिए, गोरी होनी चाहिए, चश्मा नहीं होना चाहिए, भले उसको कुछ आता नहीं है, पढ़ी नहीं है तो चलेगा, but then she should look good, खाना वाना बनाए बस हो गया. So still that demand is there, and we do have this aspect of body shaming linked up with female from the time of the no birth. जब से पैदा होंगे तब से ही, अगर लड़की है तो कैसा बाल का ग्रोथ है, कैसी स्किन है, वहां से शुरू हो जाता है. We never end up that particular aspect. So it's really difficult, and it's good to hear you that so much you have gone through, and you ultimately came at some point that this is it, let me live my life my own way, on my own terms, forget about alopecia and forget about the baldness. So Pranjali, let us know, like you wrote the book related to being bald and how a bald woman goes through, what are the experiences, but then what all is the book about? Like, have you put the experiences into list of chapters, or how have you framed your book?
Yeah. So in my book, I have tried to group the experiences, like similar kind of experiences that I have had, and actually in the last 1 year, right, I was traveling a lot for 8 months. Out of that 1 year, I was constantly on the move. I was literally like every week I was in a different place. I was packing, living out of a suitcase, and I was like just moving. So basically I interacted with a lot of people around multiple countries, and so in that experience I have had like uh, experiences that came under a similar umbrella. I grouped them together. So if I can read out some like chapter titles to you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
please.
yeah, so the first chapter goes as like the hash, and I've used the hashtag to stick with the current times. So it's like hashtag the day is nearing is the first chapter, where I talk about the experience that experience. Then I talk about the going bald experience, which is hashtag going bald. There is a experience which I talk about, hashtag ladies washroom, which is also a very it's a psychological thing and social, actually. I would not, more than psychological, it's a social thing. So that is like one in that chapter I talk about like since I have gone bald until today, and I'm not lying, till today, whenever I have to use a public restroom, I am scared. I'm very
Oh,
scared because I have had very harsh reactions from women while I'm entering the washroom. Or
even today
even,
this is
even today,
happening.
even today, they look at me and they want to just make sure that I'm a girl or a
Women.
woman. Yeah.
Oh,
To,
okay.
so till today, like just yesterday, I entered the washroom and somebody said, "Ami ghabarle," things like that. So that one thing I have experienced, and I don't know how eventually I'll get comfortable with it. But I till today, whenever I have to use a public restroom, since the time I've gone bald, I am nervous because I feel like I don't know, and especially more so in India, I have felt that because most commonly women don't look like me. So basically, that is one reason that I. So in hashtag ladies washroom, I talk about those experiences and things like that.
Wow, that's really, this is new to know that it's so difficult to and ये वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, लेडीज की दुश्मन होती है, they don't support. This is what is actually the problem. Like, we fail to sometimes really support women when actual time is there. So people do read out her book to know the real experiences of her life, like how she has been going through. And let's be kind and compensate, compassion. Should have compassion for people who have this kind of an issue. It's not a major thing of life. She's an absolute normal person. Just the thing is, she looks little different than others. And there are now so many people who, out of fashion fiesta, they actually create so many aspects about themselves. Like, if you go to US and European countries, they have tattoos and so many different changes onto their face and their body. So if somebody becomes, and there are people who also become bald, out of religious, some particular kind of cultural and religious binding for temporary purpose. So I think this should be taken very positively by women. So all the women around here, please, if you come across anybody bald in the washroom, don't scare them. Be good to them, and please be welcoming. They are not going to do anything to you. They have just come to the washroom for sake. So let's not be rude and no mistreating these kind of things. But that's really bad that you get this kind of people around. So Pranjali, I want you to share some some positive incidences that you have mentioned in the book, and also some very painful incidences which have really shackled you up within, that how can this be, how can this kind of treatment be given to somebody, and that then that might have brought you, to some lesson very deep within, something like that.
Yeah. Um, First, I'll talk about those kind of episodes. Um, it was like, I think I was out shopping for my wedding sari, and it was a hot day. It was a very hot day, and I was actually remember I told you that I couldn't ever tie my hair. So
Yeah.
it was not for fashion per se, but even for convenience, right? On days like these where you want to like tie your hair up, it would like I used to get that second thought. I can't, no, I mean, I can't like tie my hair up. So I've lived with that thought for so many years of my life. Like I absolutely had stopped doing that. So there were, and then there are also like, there would happen instances where like I'm there amongst a group of friends, and then it's a very casual chatter among girls. They talk about hair loss, they talk about hair fall, they talk
Yeah.
about happening that is happening, they talk about how hair is important and things like that. So initially I used to feel a bit sad, and initially I also used to feel that they know that I have alopecia and they know that I'm going through this. So I mean, but then later on I realized that I think it's just with age you become mature and you understand that they're not like speaking all this to like kind of hurt you. They're just discussing this casually, and so don't get affected by it. And your case is different, so that doesn't mean that your friends can't talk about these things just because you're around. So let them live their life, let them talk about the things that they want to discuss. You don't get affected by it. So that was the thing that I told myself. And the incident that I actually started with, right? So the incident was when I was sari shopping for my wedding. There was this watchman who was sitting outside like a store, and like I was so it was incredibly hot in May, and so I tied my hair up. I went inside and then I shopped my sari, I was leaving. So maybe I turned around and something. So the watchman said, "Madam, just cover your head." And then initially I thought, oh, he's so caring and he's being so sweet because it's so hot and I don't have a any generally in Pune. I'm from Pune, so I was shopping in Pune. So Pune generally people have this head cover always, like. So I thought, okay, probably he's being very sweet and caring, and then he said, "ते खूप विचित्र दिसतंय." So like it's not looking very good. It's not very pleasing. Remember I said, right, alopecia patches are not very friendly looking patches. You will get scared, and people have gotten scared, and I've seen these reactions even from immediate family members. Like, and the reaction that comes, right, it's not something that is deliberate, and it's
Yeah,
something
it is
sudden.
naturally coming up. Yeah.
Natural. So they kind of, they also don't get, it's a reflex. So they also don't get a minute to kind of change it. That
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, so that sudden reaction I've got multiple times, and those are very painful, uh, because those are the moments that you asked about discrimination, right? Those are the moments you feel that you're being discriminated. Those are the moments that you feel like you're not like you're not being accepted the way you are. Those are the moments
So,
that feel
so
that way.
does this actually affected your self confidence, or your no, we everybody has their own image, no, as in person, that I'm like this and this. So does that no, created some kind of hatred towards your own self?
Mm, I wouldn't entirely dismiss it. I would say that probably it must have. Somewhere it must have definitely felt that, like, oh, I am, this is like a shortcoming in me and I'm not beautiful or things like that. But I would also like, a few questions back you talked about like इंडिया में ऐसा होता है ना, लड़की है उसका शादी
Mhm.
कैसा हुआ, मोटी नहीं चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं चाहिए. But I would say like I want to give a big credit to my parents, because you said right कि लड़कियों को सीखा उनको आता कुछ नहीं हो पर दिखना अच्छा चाहिए. Our house was exactly opposite. We have never like seen this being actively discussed कि इसका शादी होना है. No, until you are on your own foot, there is no marriage discussion. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I've My alopecia journey is a lot my parents journey also, because they have also come from doctor to doctor with me. They have also found like, and more than me probably it was them, because they were responsible for me. So they were looking for doctors, they were taking, oh, somebody told, recommended this doctor, let's go to that
Yeah.
doctor, let's do this, we want to try this. So it was their journey more, and they also tried it for so many years until I started working and I started earning my own money, after which it became like, if I wanted to, even then they kept on like, even till today, if somebody tells them this, they're like, okay, do you want to go there and things like that. But I feel somewhere they never, just today I was thinking about it, like they never, I've never heard them worry about this angle from that perspective, like iska shadi kaise hoga agar iska baal chala gaya. I don't know if they had it in their mind, but they never expressed it. And we in general, like we are three sisters and we are generally on the healthier side. We have also never seen, like growing up, we have also never seen this thing like, oh, exercise, and like it should be a healthy way that you should exercise to become healthy, but we never saw that like you're a girl, you have to get married, or did you have to, never. I've never
That's
seen
really
that
good.
growing
Yeah,
up.
that's
So I
really
want
good that you got good family support around, so that this at least this part was not painful for you, because
yeah.
there are many women around who don't get family support, and there is a lot of discrimination from the family itself. No, the others are outsiders, so in a way we can give them this thing that okay, bahar ke hain, kya farak padta hai, but at least family should be cooperative enough, and they didn't discriminate you on this particular aspect is really wonderful to note. So hats off to your family. I can see your father is already listening to your talk, and he has shared and expressed himself that he's very happy to see you a brave and daring daughter. And I am also equally inspired to see somebody coming up on the floor to discuss one's own baldness is not a small achievement. So you have like started from that 9-year-old child who was losing the hair, and then lost completely, and has now come up to this no the stage of ending up the war, that I'm all fine. I have no issues with the being bald, or not having the hair anymore. So it's a great no achievement in terms of acceptance towards one's own self. So one thing was sure, you were like okay, अब चले जाएंगे चलेगा, अब ज्यादा कुछ करना नहीं है, let's live the life. But then life becomes very different once you start accepting and going around. So now you share us like how things have been when you are totally bald, and like how people react towards that, and how you put yourself as in person, in front of people, because you are working, you have to go at number of places. उस टाइम पे तो थोड़े भी बाल थे, अभी बिल्कुल नहीं है. तो जब जाते हैं तो हाउ यू मेक अप योर माइंड, बिकॉज रिएक्शंस तो वही आएंगे जो पहले आते हैं, बट योर अप्रोच टुवर्ड्स द रिएक्शन हैज चेंज्ड एज यू एक्सेप्टेड के अब इसमें मेडिसिन कुछ नहीं करना है, नो मोर ट्रीटमेंट, and I'll go with the same thing. So how do you now react once you have accepted that you are bald?
Yeah, actually, self acceptance no gives you a lot of power. I feel, because what happens is like lot of times, even if I spoke about a lot of times that others supporting me or others giving me the support, but none of that would matter if I am not ready to take that. If I'm not accepting myself, कितना भी
Yes.
मुझसे लोग shower करे love, care, protection, affection, if I, even the entire world showers this on me, I am not going to feel better. And the only moment I am going to feel better is when I accept myself. And I'm not saying this just to say, because I've experienced this in, as I mentioned, in COVID 2020. There were a lot of things in my life that weren't going very well. And today when I and year end, we were sitting, I think, a friends group of friends, and 2021 was coming, and we were discussing. They were like, okay, how was this year? And I said a statement that 2020 was the worst year of my life. And today, when I look back at that year and I say that I had done so many things in 2020 that were so much challenging for me, and I had broken, I learned new things. I failed, okay, fine. I failed at few things, but I learned so much. I'd even got, like, we had done the court marriage, I got married, I was living with my husband for the first time. How could I say that that was the worst year? Just because I had not accepted. That time I was working, I had fixed income coming in, I had friends, I had my hair, I had everything. But how could I say that that was the worst year of my life? Because I had not accepted myself. So self acceptance actually gives you a lot of power, and it gives you a lot of positivity in your life. And
Yeah.
by saying that, it doesn't mean that your problems are going to go away. I know. And just by writing a book also, it's my story doesn't get over, right? Because every day I have faced the same things. Every day I know. Today I know that, okay, the moment I take out my helmet, I know that 10 people are going to look at me. The moment I go stop at a sidewalk for street food, I know that 10 people are going to look at me. So I know that always 10, 20, 30 eyes are going to be there on me. So I also conduct myself accordingly, because I know that people are going to look at me. So I've accepted the fact that I look different, and yes, so people are going to look at me. Sometimes I even joke, between me and my husband, I say that I should just start marketing, like, okay, I can wear your t-shirt, brand t-shirt, because people are looking at me, so I'm like a walking, moving billboard. So whatever you want to market or advertise, just give me a t-shirt. I'll wear that t-shirt, and you'll get your marketing, because so many people look at me. So just humor, add humor to your life, and it will make you powerful, because you have to accept yourself for others to, like, it's not even for others to even if some positive things are coming your way, right? For you to let them come your
Come
way,
to you.
you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be open to that. So that will come only with self acceptance. If you are like shutting them off, then nothing is going to help you, even if like the every entire world. And if you accept yourself, even if nothing, nobody is like giving you, everybody is treating you poorly, if everybody is saying bad things about you, you have accepted yourself, right? So that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. I think
Yeah,
that is.
and that, I think that is a that itself is a great achievement, because to see us the way we are is very difficult. Most of us, we look for some kind of identity, and we relate to that identity. But then what we are, if we can actually look at ourselves in that way, you will never get shattered, because you
Yes.
have got your own self, your own back at that particular moment. So that's really wonderful to note. Now, on that note, Tanush, sorry, Pranjali, how do you? Uh, it's good to write, because you were writing blogs, so you got a thought that let me put it into a book. So you went through that book writing. There must have been a lot of catharsis of your whole journey through writing the book. But then publishing is always a problem, because who would like to read? And sometimes these topics are so grave, people don't want to read on realistic things, because they feel यार वही वापस वही problems के बारे में पढ़ना है. तो ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं. तो how you decided that how are you going to publish the book?
Yeah. So I'll answer it in two parts, the question. So first of all, you talked about catharsis, right? Writing about being so yes, it is a cathartic experience, and it was a cathartic experience for me. So when I ended the book so I felt that I want my readers also to kind of have that experience. So I've added a few questions towards the end, for them to reflect on their life. And I'm telling you, I have got responses from my friends who are slightly on the darker side of skin color, from friends who have had their teenage insecurities about wearing teeth braces or things like that. So people have reached out to me about their weight issues. Men, women, both have reached out to me. They've talked about things. So that's what I'm telling, that the book is very. I share my experiences from the baldness perspective, but everybody has their own insecurity. So I
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
give them the experience, because this is what I. That is also one thing I realized. Like, okay, I am having baldness, but everybody has their own fight. Everybody is a fighter because they are
yes,
fighting their insecurities, and it's not going to be apparent. Okay, my insecurity might be visible to others. It's no more even an insecurity for me, but my insecurity, maybe it's visible to them. But there are people whose insecurities are not visible to others, but they also have. So everybody is fighting on a day-to-day basis. So I wanted to give them that opportunity. So I have added these questionnaires towards the end, so people, my readers, can also have their own cathartic moments. And the other thing about publishing the book, right? So at the very beginning of our interview, I said that I am a person who keeps on. I love to keep on learning new things, challenging myself, trying out new things. So writing a book was one thing, that was like one goal. I also like reading books. So and lately I've been very much into self-help, and self-help, not just reading. I've been making notes, I've been taking writing down things, I've been trying to follow, doing the task. So I was reading this 4 hour week by Tim Ferriss. In that, he says you make a 30-day planner, 60-day planner, 90-day planner. I'm not saying that I did everything, but I just at least made the planner. Followed, no. I made the planner thrice, didn't follow it twice. Third time, a little bit. So out from that, and over the years I've made that, right? Like, not consistently, but so writing a book was in the very first planner that I made when I had probably started writing blogs just for a year maybe. So writing a book was in there. And then so this, I had a topic now, so I had a goal that I wanted to write a book. I had a reason that I wanted to share my story with others, because I wanted them to know. I wanted them to know, like, what balding did to me. And there was so I just combined these two. I wrote a book about baldness. And then I was always curious how to publish a book on Amazon Kindle, and that is like the self publishing platform. So I solved my curiosity of like how to do it, how to publish a book through using this use case, like my baldness story, my ambition of writing a book, and my curiosity of learning how to publish a book. I
self-published.
clubbed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because now it is very difficult to. It's very expensive actually to undertake a publishing aspect, and not many publishers are also willing to take up your project unless they feel it's sellable. So it
Hmm.
really becomes very difficult and challenging for those who are writing this particular thing. So you must have got under some kind of editing or something, or you directly published it.
So I used my close friends and family, so to proofread the book. I proofread it multiple times. I got suggestions and from my friends, so I those suggestions I incorporated in the book of things that didn't feel complete. So I did all of those tasks. And somewhere I also use. I'm a techie. So I also use like ChatGPT to rephrase certain sentences of mine if it wasn't. But the story is 100% mine. I haven't like written it using ChatGPT entirely. I've used a couple of phrases here and there to better word it, or maybe to correct my framing somewhat. I've used the resource that is available. And yeah, and then it was like on my own. Like, I just wanted to also learn that part. How do you publish a book? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And always there is a big trouble of naming the book,
Hmm.
because that is always like content likh liya, but appropriate name of the book is something which every author wants to find out so that it justifies the content. So how you came across this name?
So actually, it's very funny. In my case, the name came first, and
Oh,
then the book came. So I was like, I it was fixed in my mind. I'm going to write a book called Baldversary, and then the topic started flowing. Then the thing started, because it is like Baldversary was published on June 21st. So scheduled to be published on June 21st, but I published it earlier. But June 21st is the day that I went bald. June 2022. So 2023 is like 1 year anniversary. So I clubbed the two words of bald and anniversary and made it baldversary. But later on, second thought, I also realized it can be interpreted as bald adversary, which has a negative connotation. But I was like, no, it's a bald anniversary. It's not bald verse, like
Word,
bald adversary. No.
adversity. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing. Why to put it in a negative way? Let's go for the positive aspect. And it's really unusually you have fixed out like anniversary and baldness together, and you could do this wonderfully. As in, because it turns out to be very different when you see the no the book's name. It's not
Mm.
like that easy. So any plans to no, because there are going to be limited readers in terms of English, so you have any plans to make it into other language?
Yeah, I've got questions about, like, if you will make it in other language, if you make an audible book for it. So there are those questions that have come up. I'm still flirting with the idea. I'm not sure how those will pan out. I'm actually very recently I have made conscious efforts to also start reading a lot of Marathi books and Marathi literature, at least one per month, because I realized that as time progressed, my touch with my mother tongue was kind of uh, going off, and I wasn't able to articulate things as clearly in Marathi. And even actually, you see, right, there is one speech, language of your speech and language of your thoughts. But my language of thoughts is also English now. So for me, I was losing a lot of touch with my mother tongue. So I have conscious effort of reading. So I don't think I will be anywhere close to writing that book myself. But if I find someone who's willing to translate it for me, then definitely I would be open to translate it to other languages.
Yeah, that's really good. So, Pranjali, how about like, because you're a dancer and you want to become a, no great dancer in the future. That's what's your dream all about. So, how do you put this? Like previously, you had hair, at least some, so that you can do the shows. Presently, how do you manage that?
So yeah, that was one part. Actually, I struggled a lot, like initially, because and my ambition, uh, yeah, I'm a dancer, I'm a dance student, but my ambition is more of like dance productions, and I want to create these life size dance productions. And I know that it's going to take me my entire life to actually get there. So I know that when I'm 70-year-old lady sitting, I will be running a massive dance production, like a size of like a
Huge one.
great big movie show.
Yeah,
Yeah, huge one. So
yeah.
that is my dream, and that is what I want my life to be about. But so when I became bald, it was all like, okay, that part actually I really struggled, because not in terms of like because I wasn't actively performing up as such on stages or things like that, but I was actively doing a lot of video production work that we do on our channel. It's called Nrityavana, the dance production house. So we were doing a lot of video production work over there. So when throughout Nrityavana, there were times when we were doing certain projects, and my ball patches would increase. So initially, I would also tell the friends or the crew. It wasn't a crew as such; it was our team. So our team. So I would tell them that, oh, is my patch being visible? Oh no, we can't do that hairstyle because my patch will be seen, or things like that. So I would make those attempts. But then there was this one project actually I did. It is called. There was a very beautiful song a teammate recommended, "Jeete Hai Chal," and I choreographed that song, and then somehow we couldn't do a group project on it. And then I thought, okay, I just want to talk about alopecia using this. So I've done a video on that, and I do that hair or no hair, you're beautiful, that kind of feeling.
That's
And
wonderful.
yeah, so that is it. I'm like, I talked about alopecia openly, and then I went bald. And initially, if you see certain projects, I don't know if you would audience will make out, uh, because when I was trying to cover my patches, right, my friends would be like, no, we can't see them, or no, we can't sense any difference. But sometimes your problems are too big in your head itself. Sometimes they're
Yeah.
not so apparent to the others. Sometimes because you are aware about them consciously 24/7, so they're very big in your head. So initially, I was very nervous. My body language in some videos that I see, right, initial videos that we did, my body language is so much stuck up, and your body talks. So I was not comfortable in my bald look, so that was shown in the work that we did during that time. I wasn't sure, and yeah, but eventually now I think the relationship with dance just changes. Like it didn't change. It evolves. It doesn't
Yes.
change, it evolves. So basically I realized like dance is an aspect of my life, and baldness is an aspect of my life. It has nothing got to do with each other. And one very beautiful thing a man had actually said to me, a man boy, like a friend. So he once said that if doing little things, right, like putting on kajal, putting on makeup, putting on lipstick, things like that, if those things kind of add to your confidence, anyone, like okay, anyone. So basically, what are these things? They are a part of an external appearance. So putting on any external appearance, if that adds on to your confidence, then what is bad in that? And initially, I used to be very stuck up in my head. No, I don't want these add-ons. I don't want to get used to these add-ons or things like that. So, but then when I looked at it from that perspective, it all made sense. And for me, one thing that I really like is perfumes, and I call them feel good. So I like perfume on myself, and that kind of is a feel. It's my feel good. I feel more confident. So I feel that if my dance aesthetics needs a certain thing, okay, fine. But for now, I haven't like adorned anything else, and even I'm open to exploring wigs as an option. But initially, uh, I knew that I'm not a person who can keep up anything cosmetic for a long term. I'm extremely lazy when it comes to like keeping on with like a skincare routine or things, which is not a very good thing. But I am not very up to the mark when it
Yeah,
comes to
yeah,
these things. So I knew that if in my initial years of baldness, if I go for a option of wig or things like that, I will never accept myself a, and that will do harm on my self confidence. That will self image. It will not be good for me. And b, if I anytime if I don't have wig or something like that handy, or I will feel lesser, and I will feel not confident enough, and I will always be conscious even if I'm wearing a wig, that if it's coming off or if it's that or this thing. So the best option for me was straightforward accepting myself. That was the only option for me,
yeah.
because
That's true.
yeah.
That's really true. So I'm happy you discovered yourself under the roof of alopecia ultimately.
Yes, yes, I
Yes,
think that definitely happened.
yeah, that's really amazing because usually it takes years and maybe you never find yourself available to your own self. And through this disease, maybe that was the goal of the disease, to help you come closer to yourself. So that's what you ultimately achieved. So friends, we are going to end up the show in few minutes. It's already 8:10, and if you have questions, kindly post it into the chat box so that I can take up your questions for Pranjali, and she can answer whatever questions you have. Pranjali, we have a few of the comments for you. That there are people who are sharing lot of love to you from the chat box, and there are also people who say that you are a brave woman. They are really proud to know your journey. And they say that if you would have been in South Indian women, maybe the kind of reactions you're going through with the people might not be, because in South India, they
Very
offer
common.
their hair to no Tirupati Balaji, no, and they
Yeah.
go for
And
baldness.
a lot of people ask me, "Have you been to Balaji?" And that's why you're bored. And they ask me, and my mom was there a couple of times when people asked me, and she got fed up and she was like, "Just say yes, no. Why do you have to tell people that you have a disease? Just say yes, no. If they're asking you if you've gone to Balaji, just say yes. Why are you telling them?" I'm like, it's not that. It's about letting them know. It's about spreading awareness, letting them know that there is a disease called alopecia, and it is. So that is
Yes.
what. Yeah, and I agree. I get that question a lot. Have you been to Tirupati and those things? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now, what's your next goal related to alopecia? You have already written a book and you're onto the awareness about alopecia through your book. But then, what's your next goal in terms of spreading more education related to awareness? Have you planned something new?
Uh, Definitely talking to platforms like yours, which is actually speaking with someone who has gone through and trying to understand what a disease like alopecia does. So every day is an opportunity for me, right? As I mentioned that every day people are looking at me, every day people are talking to me, every day somebody or other walks up and asks. So every moment like that is an opportunity for me to spread awareness about alopecia. Now that I have alopecia, now that I'm bald, can I dedicate my life to baldness and alopecia when I did not do that when I had my hair? I did not run treatment after treatment to live my life, right? Now that I'm bald and I have alopecia, now too I'm not going to dedicate my life to baldness and alopecia. I am going to continue living my life. I'm going to continue working towards my dreams of having a musical production one day. I've just recently started my entrepreneurial venture, which is like a software platform. So I am keeping busy with that. So I am going to fulfill all my other dreams. I also want to be a mother one day, and that is also one thing that I was hesitant because I had alopecia. I used to think that, and sometimes it's also genetic, but in my case it's not, but it can be genetic. So I was also nervous about that, like probably I was not sure if I want to explore motherhood as an option. But now somewhere with my self image and acceptance, that option is opening up for me. So probably I would also like to have a family of my own one day. So I am going to continue and live my life, and alopecia, as it has lived with me for the half of my life, is going to continue and live with me for the rest of my life. But it's not going to dominate my life, and I'm not going to let
Very
it
good.
dominate my life.
Very good. Wonderful to note. So, people, so many good things to note from no Pranjali's life and book. First of all, please read her book to understand what a person can go through, how we react towards this kind of just simple, small. Actually, this disease has nothing to do with her anatomy, physiology at all. And still we label people in certain way because we want to see them in certain way, and that is a reason people are trying for increasing height. They want to try for good skin, they want to try for good eyes, and there are so many plastic surgeries going on. There are so many issues relevant to body shaming. There are people suffering from vitiligo and leukoderma, skin diseases, which they want to treat just because people label them that they are not having a normal skin tone. So please, we need, this is a high time. India has reached to no moon now, and India is no more a country of conservative people. We are amongst one of the biggest economy, highly populated. It's high time we should leave all these particular labeling things and looking people from the physical point of view. Instead of that, see them as a person other than their physical appearance, and stop doing body shaming for women. It's so bad that we just label the women in certain way, and then no, we want to figure it out who she is and how she is. Women can be much more than what she appears or looks like, and that is the example what Pranjali is showing us. And all those women, if you're going through this kind of insecurities, please get inspired and read the book, and find out where you want to go and how you can know reach your own self. Unless you have self love and self acceptance, the world is not going to accept you. The moment you accept yourself, everybody approaches you, it becomes more welcoming for you all around. So on that note, Pranjali, a last question before we end up the session. What is your what could be your takeaway for the listeners today from you, from your life experience and your book?
It would be that accepting your self image can actually change your life. Like it can actually bring a very positive outlook. It's not going to be something that is going to be one day change, but you will have to work on it. It's not something that will come to you and stay with you permanently. Every day you will have to work on it. Every day it's a constant journey, but don't get uh, shattered. Some days you'll feel good, some days you'll feel bad, but remember the bigger picture of life.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we wish you all the very best for your dreams to achieve, right? And staying as an bold and bald beautiful woman.
Thank
So
you, thank you.
on that good note, hope we meet you again this next time we talk about your music production and not on your baldness. So I wish you a very good luck for your music production, and someday we interview on a different platform, talking about a women running a music production, a big music production house, and not like a woman who has written a book. So with that good wishes to you, a very very thank you to come and give so much time to our audience and inspire so many people around. This recording is available on YouTube now, so it's going to be more eventually heard by people. And I'm sure many girls and women who undergo this physical labelings in different forms would today realize that it doesn't matter much unless and until you don't care about what's the label about. So let's free ourselves at this moment. Like, let's not pay attention onto looks, but what we actually are is much more important. So see you soon in the coming days with your new big achievements. And I hope Rutuja Foundation would be much more happier to see your achievements and success in days to come. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
audience, for joining us and staying with us all the way. We all will be again connecting with another such person, this time bringing onto the platform a men author who has written 3 books related to gender. And he has also mentioned men, how discriminations are happening with men, female, and then what are the gender biases happening in Indian society. So we are coming soon in the end of September, 25th September, with session 12 with Dr. Hiren Soni, who is going to talk about 3 different books written on gender discrimination and gender biases. So see you all then during our this Pustak Mimansa Book Lovers Club. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Pranjali. Have a nice time. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.